All right, guys. Well, good morning to everyone in the live trading room, everyone on YouTube. Good morning to you guys. And let's get started, man. The small caps have not disappointed this morning as well. So we've got a lot of big movers, and a lot of it continues with the theme of the NFTs. And I've got some large cap stocks that I'm gonna cover. So I think I've got a nice mix for me personally of small caps and large caps. So let me jump right in. General Motors, it's very spready this morning, but some news came out that they're extending the production cuts. The production cuts for General Motors does result in billions of dollars of losses, of lost revenue. And as you can see on the daily chart, it's trading in between its 8 MA and the 20 MA, and slightly below the 13 MA. I'm going to keep a close eye on this one because General Motors, we don't trade it very often, but it actually makes pretty decent moves. So if you go in with some good size on options contracts or maybe even on some equity, if you've got the buying power to do so, you can short this one, go long General Motors, and actually make some decent money. So I like General Motors, and considering the news that it's got, I'm going to go ahead and keep this one on my A list. I got two other large cap stocks. Viacom. I like Viacom a lot, and the reason why is because, and this is VIAC, and the reason why is because if you pull up a daily chart, you could see the massive run it's had since November. I'm looking here. This stock was trading below 30 bucks, hit a high of almost $102 the other day, and now it's pulling back, a pretty significant amount because they did a stock offering yesterday. Yesterday, the stock pulled back, and then today we had that continuation. But what I like about it is that 83 bucks seems to be a support zone. That's where the 20 MA is at. And also, if you look back at, early March, like March 5th through the 10th, you could see that 83 bucks could be a nice support zone on this because it was flagging where it broke out, out of this 84, 83 range. So if you look at an intraday basis, I mean, it's had some pretty whippy action for Viacom. And for the record, I've never traded this stock before. So this will be the first time that I trade it. And I'm going to keep it very simple. What I want to see is that $83 to hold. You could see that at 4 a.m., it bounced off 83 bucks twice on the 2-minute time frame. Almost retested it again at 5 o'clock, bounced from that area, and now we've come close to it, but it's trading at $84. What I would like to see personally is for Viacom to hold and for us to go long, put our stops at 83. And I think this could be a nice, chill, decent long. If it breaks 83, we can go in for a quick short. But it's already done a lot of damage in the past 2 days. I think the risk reward on this is really, really low. So I like Viacom. If we see some action going on here, like I would love to see a little pullback at the open, reclaim 84, go long, put your stops at 83, risk $1 per share. We could probably reclaim 85, 86. So that's my game plan on Viacom. One other large cap stock, Intel, INTC. So they're building a facility to expand their chip production. The stock is gapping up. It sold off a little bit throughout the pre-market, found some basing here at like 65, 66, and now it's trading a little bit above 86 bucks. So here's what I want to see personally on Intel. If it breaks below 65.70, 65.60 range, I'm going to go in for the short. Now, it did kind of break out of this consolidation, the $66 range that I was hoping it would kind of not break out of before the market opened. But I would like to see a little pullback on it, maybe retest 66. And if we see some bottoming curl action, maybe a bull flag setup, we can go long Intel. Intel did receive some price target upgrades. I did share that in the Discord channel, so take a look there on the analyst notes under research. And so I think Intel could be maybe a decent play today. Sometimes Intel is a boring trade. So if we don't see the setup and if it's not really moving the way I would like it to, then just push it aside and we can focus on some other trades. So those are my 3 large cap stocks that I'm gonna keep a close eye on today. And of course, I'm always gonna take a peek at Tesla because I like Tesla. That's my baby. But the other one is gonna be GameStop. GameStop reported earnings. I don't care what anybody says. The earnings does not justify the stock price. And I shared it in the Stock Alerts channel that the executive team is looking at executing a stock offering. They haven't done it yet. They haven't pulled the trigger yet, but they're considering to do it. So guess what? The moment that happens, that's going to dilute the current shares. And the typical reaction of a stock offering is that the stock price drops. GameStop is obviously on its own universe, so who knows what's going to happen? All I know is that today there's going to be a lot of volatility with GameStop, and I'm going to be a participant with it. So here's the way I see it. If it breaks out of 164, you can go long. Put your stops at 160. If it breaks the 160 range, I will consider to short it, and my first target is going to be like 155, 154. And if it breaks, if this really sells off, look for the break of 150, which was the pre-market low at like 4 a.m. All right, so that's my game plan with GameStop. SOS came out with some news that they are taking the initial steps to, I guess, expand their cryptocurrency exchange or digital asset exchange, and look at that massive pop that came in. SOS is a stock that can really move. It's a cheap stock. 100 shares of this is only $750 of buying power. So everyone can trade this one. If we see volume kick in, if we see some price action come in on this, go long. The risk is really low. Let me pull up a daily on this one. Let me see. So on a daily perspective, yeah, it's just since like February, it's just been consolidating here. So maybe this news will bump it up. Let's see how it goes today. If you have margin, you can short this stock. So I like both ways of where the stock can go. So key levels that I'm going to look for, if SOS can reclaim 770, I'm going to go some long, put stops at like 740. I'll risk 30 cents on the trade. Now if we see SOS just give out and break below 740, probably going for the short. So right now it's consolidating a little bit. Let's see once the opening 5 minutes, what kind of volume comes in. Another one is TKAT. As you guys know, I've been battling this one all day yesterday. Yesterday, TKAT was my biggest winner. I shorted it a bunch of times, and especially on the closing hour, I really got that short, so I was really happy with it. I got a lot of questions from a lot of people and surprisingly on Twitter. I got some DMs on Twitter and people within our community if TKAT will continue to go up to 70 bucks. Guys, stocks don't go up forever. Look at the chart. Look at the daily chart on this. Does this seem familiar? Tilray. Bro, Tilray did the exact same thing. So I just really don't want you guys to lose money. The easy money was already done. I mean, we've been staring at this thing since $7. Taj can attest to it, and everyone in our trading room can attest to it. We've been playing this long since $7. The party is going to relax a little bit. I mean, it was so extended yesterday. Yesterday was the first pullback, and look at the gap down today. So I say that because, don't trade based on FOMO, guys. Don't trade based on FOMO. You know, this is a short today, so I'm gonna look for that break of 42, 43, and if I see that weakness, I'm gonna go in and short it. If we do get a pop, look for the breakout of 46, 47, and we can go long. Put your stops at 43, right? But I am short biased on TKAT. One more, then I'll pass it on to Taj. DLPN was a nice winner for me this morning. Waited for that 7 a.m. volume pop. Went long 34 bucks. Got out at 37. Look at the stock back down to $29. So very easy play for me on the long. Very easy money to start my day in the green. If DLPN breaks below that 28.40 range, this is a short. But be careful with it because there was a lot of volume in it, and DLPN and HOFV both signed that agreement with each other. So I think even though it's displaying some weakness today, they're still holding relatively well. I think a lot of people are going to buy these up. I think people are now leaving TKAT and they're going to HOFV and DLPN. So that's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I don't have a crystal ball. But that's just kind of the gut feeling I'm getting here. So if DLPN breaks out of like 30.50, go long. Put your stops at 29 bucks, right? HOFVN, if it breaks out of like 7.30 range, go long. Put your stops at 7 bucks. Very easy, low risk on both trades, and let's just have some fun. So Taj, pass it on to you, brother.
Yeah, so I really like those plays. I'm going to be primarily focusing on the small cap stocks today. I really like HLFE, the gap up that it has, the volume it's maintaining. You're looking at a lot of these candlesticks. We're doing 500,000, sometimes even 1 million per 5-minute candlestick. So obviously there's a crowd here. There's going to be a lot of people trading this as the market opens. And on the daily chart, we're breaking out of a wide range bull flag. So looking at that, HOFE has a lot of room to run. If I take a look out on the 12-year chart, on the 10-year chart, pretty much ever since the stock existed, looks like the all-time high is around $12.30. So that's going to be the next area to see if we could break out of that, which sounds insane at the moment. But as we know, once these stocks get rolling, there's really no telling where they can go. So keeping that in mind, I do expect to play this. If this starts to break out above 750 or so on HOFE, definitely look for a long with stops around $7. Another name I'll be looking at. Did you go over ZKIN?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a chance to. Go ahead.
Okay, so ZKIN is another one. There was some news that came out about it, of them acquiring online gaming assets. Because of that, ZKIN had a rip this morning from 8:30 a.m. From 11 bucks all the way up to $16. We are getting a bit of a retracement here, trading around $14.50. But similar to what we saw on HOFV, ZKIN is breaking out of a wide range bull flag as well. So if ZKIN can really start to reclaim those highs, I think this is going to be another name that's going to go on a big run. This is another stock. The volume is really good on it, doing anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million shares per candlestick. So the way I see it, out of the gate, if you want to catch an early entry, you can play it around 15, 10 or so. Play it long, 30 stops around 14.50, 14 bucks if you get a quick pop out of the gates. However, if you want to be a little more conservative, wait for a break of the pre-market high. You could absolutely do that. Throw your stops around 15 bucks. So I preferably like to see ZKIN break that pre-market high. But let's see how it opens this morning. If it trades down to 14, pop back up to 15, maybe we catch an entry there. But as of now, I want to see that pre-market high taken out. Another name I'll be watching was actually a name we traded a couple days ago, and that's SPRT. SPRT, this was a name that was also another big runner, ran from $2 up to nearly $10 in one day. But now we've had a bit of retracement. Yesterday, We formed somewhat of a double bottom here, down around 550, and now we're actually catching a nice little pop here. So the way I see it is if HOFB starts to trade back above 670, you can look for a long, or I'm sorry, HOFB, SPRT. Trades back above 670, you can look for a long and have a price target of around 711, which is that pre-market high. If there stops at 640, or if it starts to break down below $6, we can definitely look for another short. Remember yesterday on SPRT, $6 was a key level for the stock. So I think that's going to serve as it's going to serve as a support today. Clearly bounced off of it a few times during the pre-market session. So if it gives out $6, you can definitely look for a short. And I can see SPRT, if it breaks down, coming back down to yesterday's lows and even more. However, if it rallies, I think there's a good chance you could see SPRT break yesterday's high. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it to see how that's going to behave out of the gates. Another name that I'll be watching there is actually Tilray. Tilray came out with the news yesterday with New York, I guess, taking steps to actually legalize marijuana, and they expect the bill to come out in the next day or so. So that was yesterday. So essentially, sometime this week, you could see a bill actually come out on the legalization of marijuana in New York. And as we all know, whenever there's news regarding legalization of marijuana anywhere, especially in New York, you're going to see Tilray pop. So just keep an eye on that. Tilray is going to more so be on my B list, but as soon as news comes out regarding that, it's going to instantly swap to my A list, because I think you're going to get a move similar to what we saw yesterday. I know a lot of you played Tilray once that news broke out here around 1 o'clock, and Tilray just went on a run from $23 up to $24.50. So I do expect something similar like that to happen once that bill is announced. So because of that, I'll be keeping an eye on Tilray pretty much for the remainder of the week until that news comes out. The last name, or two more names I'll be keeping an eye on. One is IWM. So for large cap, IWM is going to be one of the names that I'm watching, primarily because yesterday was a very weak day for the Russell. Essentially broke that key support level around 223, and now we're trading back down to the lower Bollinger Band. We are gapping up about 2 points. However, if the Russell sells off and breaks yesterday's low, get your shorts ready, because I think the Russell is really going to break down and start to maybe even test the lower portion of the Bollinger Band on the daily chart. So because of that, IWM is going to more so be on my B list, but again, starts to break those lows, it's instantly going to swap over to my A list. The last thing I'll be watching is AMC. AMC, I just like the technical setup. I don't think there's anything news-driven on it. Other than obviously one of the hot stocks of Wall Street Bets. That's like every day. But what I like about it is it's bouncing off of a key support level. It dipped below it a bit during the pre-market, $11. That was a prior resistance. Now it's kind of serving as a somewhat support. Clearly broke below it during the pre-market session. However, now we're rallying right back up to it. So I really want to see how AMC interacts there. We're getting a little bit of selling pressure here right now. But if AMC can reclaim $11, we could get a nice bounce off of it, right? We could get a move back up to, maybe we can get a move back up to $11.30, $12 around that area. So AMC is right on the daily 20-period moving average. If it breaks out above 11, we could go long. There are stops around 1080, 1070. However, if it starts to show some weakness and break below yesterday's lows around 1037, definitely get our shorts ready and see if we can test that pre-market low. But other than that, my main focus is going to be on a lot of the stocks that Alex mentioned already: DLPN, TKAT, ZKIN, and pretty much all of the NFT names, right? Those are going to be the names that are moving today. SOS is going to be another one because small caps are just, they're moving all over the place, right? You're getting these big gap ups, big gap downs, big intraday movements. So, let's trade it. Let's trade it that way. For everyone using cash accounts, one thing that I highly recommend, I know it takes 2 days to settle for everyone's cash, so it's not as quick as of a turnover as options are. So what I would recommend is if you want to trade these names with stock, is to allocate half of your cash on the day to trade these names. So if you have $5,000, you have $10,000, use half of it to day trade these names, so you still have the other half for the next day to trade the same pair of names. So that's just what I recommend. Obviously, do as you please, but that's pretty efficient way to stay with some skin in the game each and every day.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, man. So yeah, and typically with these small caps, like the options contracts, they don't move as much, and the spreads can get a little wide. So definitely take Taj's advice. I think his advice was spot on. All right, so we've got a lot of action today. A little mix of large caps, and small caps. We've been having a lot of fun with these small caps, so let's just make that quick money today. And for everyone on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you all later.